Hello, hello. I am now live. Alright, let me finish getting this set up. See if other people want to join in. Okay. Turn that off. Alright. So today, if you guys notice, I have a sort of new camera right here that I'll actually be doing a video on soon. So keep a watch out for that. And I've got a new microphone that I just got in Friday. So kind of testing it out. Hi, Nicole. How are you today? And the wife is sitting in the background back here too, so she'll kind of be part of this today. Wow, I've already got more viewers today than I have in any of my other excuse me, any of my other Sunday live streams so far. But today I'm going to be working on finishing this up, and it looks like I'm not looking at my camera because I keep looking up at my monitor up here, so I apologize for that. But I'm going to be working on finishing this. I've got all the text done now, so I just have the green lightsaber here, and then I'll have a wand up under, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can done while sitting here and chatting with you guys. If you haven't seen my other cross-stitching videos, then you'll notice that I flip my work every time, and it's what works for me. If I sit here trying to put my needle in and then I try to find that hole on the bottom, that just takes way too long for me. So since I usually have it on one of these frames, I just flip it over. I have learned that if you do it like this, like if you actually flip your wrist when you do it, then you have a good chance of maybe getting carpal tunnel or some type of issue going on with your wrist. And so I just use my fingers. Like I'll pull my thread through and I'll flip it, and I'll keep my hand, when I flip, I'll keep my hand in the same position and just do that. And it works just fine. And I'm able to really get a little bit of, I say speed, but I'm not really a fast stitcher to begin with. So it also lets me, because I usually use a longer length of floss when I'm doing it, so it lets me see my line as it goes through, so I have less of a chance of getting a tangle or a knot in my line. And if I see it starting to knot, I can fix it up before it gets too bad. So anyway, glad that you're doing good, Nicole. If anybody else is on here, how are y'all doing? I really have to find a better way to mount this camera so that if I look at my monitor, it actually looks like I'm looking into the camera and not just looking above the camera. Because that doesn't really bug me when people don't look at the camera, but it kind of, and I've got this LED strip on this monitor too, and it keeps falling off. So I got to get me some good double-sided tape or something to hold that on a little better. And y'all may hear the kid a little bit during this stream, because he's supposed to be napping, and he's not. He's currently at his door calling for us to come there. What did he say? He's saying to open his door.
The door is locked.
Those of you with kids, yeah, it's an adventure. Yeah, we shut his door at nap time, and we have it set where we can lock it on the outside, and so he can't get out, because otherwise he would not stay in his room for a nap. So we just lock it from the outside, and he can't get out. And
Go turn your fan back on and lay down, please.
he's currently at his door saying, "The door is locked." We have a nice camera in his room where we can watch him and talk to him through that too. So that's what the wife is back there doing, talking to him on his camera, telling him he needs to get back in his bed and take a nap. And there she goes. So yeah, this line on this lightsaber, this is kind of one of the things I like about cross stitching, but at the same time I don't, is when you get this big expanse, when you have this large part that just needs to be filled in, and you don't have to worry about counting anything, you can just go to town on it. But when they get so big that it takes you a while to get it done, it just kind of it can get boring. But, and I did a video on these frames here that I really like, and you'll see I keep kind of twisting the sides of it a little bit just to keep it tight, because as I stitch, and especially holding it on this side with my hand, and my hand might move a little bit and it gets loose, and so I just twist it, and there goes my LED light strip. But just twist it a little bit, and let me see if I can get this camera down a little bit so y'all can see my work better. There we go. Okay. So anyway, I keep twisting it just to make sure my work stays tight. And that's one of the things I like about this frame, is I can make sure that my work is always nice and tight. So my stitches are going to be nice and tight. So I'm hoping to get, at least on stream today, the rest of the green of the lightsaber done, because this pattern has, the outside of it is a lighter green, and then the next portion on the inside, where you can see, is a little bit darker green, and then the inner core of the lightsaber is like a bright, it's supposed to be white or something like white. I got a color that I think is a really like white with a little bit of green in it, or a little bit of yellow. So we'll see when I get to that point if I think it's going to work or not. I think it will. I went and picked up some extra colors at Hobby Lobby yesterday. So yeah, I'm just sitting here ranting. So what are y'all up to today? Anybody else working on a project right now? Not necessarily right this second, but just got anything good? Any good crafting projects, cross-stitching, diamond painting, knitting, crochet? Anything fun you're working on? I do have, I did an unboxing video on it, a Dreamer Designs diamond painting that I got, because I still have the small one, the small free one that I got back a while ago, and I haven't done a ton on it, so it's one that I might do either a live stream or just do a video working on it a little bit, because I want to get that one done so I can start on this big one I have, because I'm excited about this big one. It's Boathouse. If you go to Dreamer Designs website and look up the Boathouse painting, that's the one I got, and it's really nice. So I hope you guys can actually hear me, because I did have some audio issues on a stream before, and I didn't realize I had audio issues until after the stream, when someone commented on it and said that my audio was very low. So I'm hoping you guys can hear me well enough. If not, then somebody comment and let me know that you can't hear me. and I will make the adjustments. Cross stitch. You have a cross stitch that you're working on, Nicole? Come on. I've been working on this one actually. Our son is 2 now. He will be, I think February 17th, he will be 2.5. And I have been working on this cross stitch since before he was born. That shows you just how fast of a stitcher I am. And that's mostly I haven't gotten it done just because I let that untwist a little bit. I get to where I just kind of get bored of stitching, or I get bored of a certain thing, so I end up taking a break from it. And a lot of times I take a much longer break than I probably should. So I'll start a project and get about a quarter of the way through or halfway through, and then I'll sit it down and not pick it up for months. And I think I really need to get better about actually spending more, like when I start a project, actually spend time on it and finish it. Because this was going to go in his room, but we're in the process of kind of converting his room to to maybe more of a sports theme room. Really just what he wants. And hopefully y'all don't hear the wife in there fussing at him now, because like I said earlier, it's his nap time and he's not taking a nap. And there she is. She's back. And he does not sound happy, so he'll probably be asleep shortly.
Pooped in his pull-up.
Oh, yeah. We're also in the midst of attempting some potty training, so it's been fun. Alright, I'm almost to the end of this line. And then we'll go back. Alright. See how it starts getting twisted up and knotted up, and I just let it hang. Because of the way I thread my needle, the needle's not going to fall off. If you haven't watched my beginning cross stitch video, I made it years ago, so it is a little old, but I show in that video how I thread my needle. Oh, thank you, Nicole. I'm glad I can hear you, or glad to know you can hear me. There seems to be a bit of a lag, more of a lag than normal between the live and the comments I'm seeing. Let me try something real quick. Where is this? This one. Let's do this. Let me see if I can get the chat to show up better. Apply. Okay, here we go. All right. Now I have the chat in here. Gonna move it to there. Move to right there. There we go. Okay, see if that helps. See if the chats show up a little bit faster for me now. Don't know if they will. I've always noticed on live streams there tends to be that lag between the stream and then what you see in the chat. So let's Just the nature of the live streaming beast, I guess. Okay, I only have about maybe 10 more stitches, and so when I'm doing this, I'll do half of that phone operator voice. Yeah, it's my live stream voice. Welcome to my live stream. So I'll do half of the stitch all the way down, and then I come back and do the other half of the stitch all the way back. And I know some people will do one stitch and then they'll move on to the next stitch, but when I'm doing a long, and I'll show you if you can see it, when I'm doing a long section like that, I just do half of it all the way down to the end here, and then I'll go back the other way and do that other half. And so I've got this green line, and then I've got another one just above that bottom green line, and then I'll have that bright green. Okay, I changed that, and now I can't see how many people are actually in here. Okay, not very many. Okay, there we go. All right, so almost to the end of this line of stitches. And then I'll go back as far as I can and do the other green line. So I got about 6 left. I was saying earlier, I've got this new webcam that I'm going to do a review video on. And that's the camera that I'm looking into now. So you guys can look for that. There was something else I was thinking that I was going to do a video on this week. Oh, once I finish this cross stitch, this is going to be the one I do a video on washing. Excuse me, washing and ironing, and maybe framing it. So as soon as I get this one done, because it's going to need to be cleaned. I mentioned somewhere else about cleaning my cross stitches and how I do that. And I just use like Blue Dawn, just a mild detergent, mild soap. Put it in some not hot water, but slightly warm, just above lukewarm water, and just swish it around in there. And this one has a few spots that I'm going to try to get out. You probably can't see them. Oh yeah, you can see one right there. It has a few spots on it that I'm going to try to get out just with a soft bristled toothbrush. And they may or may not come out. If they don't, then I usually don't sweat it. It happens from time to time, and it's not really that big of a deal to me. Now, if I had a huge coffee stain on this piece, then that would be different. That would be something I would want to try to get out as fast as I can, because I don't want it to set in and then just have that in there. But like little stains here and there, they don't bother me. All right, now I'm going backwards, or I say backwards, but I'm just going back over this line. Let me get a few more done, and I'll see if you can tell the difference. Because this green this isn't the green that I had actually put in my pattern, because I need to do some more testing with the website I use for patterns, Stitch Fiddle, and see if the colors that I choose in that are are accurate to what I want. Because there was a cross-stitching pattern maker that I used to use, and I can't remember the name of it now even, but the colors that it would, like, I would choose a color that looks fine on the pattern maker, and then I would actually get that color of floss and start stitching with it, and it did not look fine. So it didn't do a very good job of choosing good colors or matching the colors well. And so I'm interested to see if Stitch Fiddle is better than the other program I used to use. I have a feeling it will be, but just not sure. I'm not sure until I do it. So I'm also going to try to come up with more patterns and start giving some away and start trying to sell more on my Etsy store, and probably going to change the name of the Etsy store too, because we had tried to do some stuff before under the name Jack and Jill of All Trades, because my wife would try to do some knitting, and then I would do crochet and cross stitch and all that, and it's kind of turning into more of a cross stitch pattern store now. So I'm thinking I may just rebrand it under Phil's Next Kick, so it'll match the YouTube channel. Okay, got that in there. Let's see if we can tell a difference. So there it is. Oh yeah, you can see. Get my fingers right. You can see where I've gone back over it, and it just looks all the same to me. The colors are not very, on this camera, the colors don't show up very well because it looks like the same color of green on top and bottom, but it's not. This top color, or this very top line and this very bottom line, are a light green, and then the one below the very top line is a darker green, which you can't really tell on this webcam. And part of that may also be, let me try something. Part of that may be lighting as well. Let's push this down here. Let's see. Yeah, that didn't help either. No. Okay. Alright, so you know what? No, I'm not going to turn that on. Anyway, I do need some better lighting in here. I did buy a lamp the other day just to mainly give me some light in this room so that my eyes aren't being so strained all the time. And this lamp has helped a lot with that. But I do need some better lighting on me. Some actual studio lighting in here, maybe. That's part of the goal I have, actually. I'm still working on setting up my Patreon page. I haven't really come up with any good rewards yet, but I'm thinking about doing, of course, some crafting themed rewards. More than likely something with cross stitching, maybe a free pattern every month or something like that. I don't know. I got to think about it. But the other page I have, Buy Me a Coffee, you can just go and contribute. And my goal, one of my goals on there, is to be able to get more, or be able to get better lighting for this studio. Because you can't really see them that well right now, but that right there, that's my lighting for my YouTube videos, and it's just two work lights that I have. And they work fine, but they get really hot. Like, they put off a lot of light, but it makes it really hot in here. If you've ever used any lights like that, they do put off some heat. And this room already gets a little warm, so I'm hopefully going to be getting some better studio style lights in here. Something I can control a little better, and that will also help, I think, this webcam, because really the most important thing with any camera is having good lighting. So that's probably my next, now that I've got me a microphone, I've got a decent microphone, so my next goal is to get decent lighting in here. All right. Well, we're according to the YouTube up to 6 viewers, so it's a good time to ask you guys again what you got going on today. Any fun projects? I know Nicole is working on a cross stitch. So what about the rest of you guys? Working on anything fun? Very much off topic with this post, but my wonderful wife did get me a brand new weed eater and chainsaw for my birthday, and I got my chainsaw out yesterday and was clearing off some brush and trees, and that was pretty fun. So hi Funky, you began learning to cross stitch. You came across my channel for a diamond painting, huh? Oh, you're welcome, Funky. I hope I have been able to help you learn well and that you are enjoying it. I've actually been cross stitching a lot longer than I've been diamond painting, but I do very much enjoy both of them. And I wasn't sure I would enjoy diamond painting that much, but I got into it and I like it a lot. I don't do it as often as I would like, just like with cross stitching. I don't get to do it all the time. I wish I could. If I could sit here and either cross stitch or diamond paint all day, every day, that would be the dream, wouldn't it? Of course, I would then get bored with that and I would have to do something else. I have many hobbies, so that's because I get bored with one, and so I either pick up a new hobby or I move back to another hobby that I have and just kind of cycle between them all. And that's one reason why this cross stitch here has taken me over 2 years to finish, because I just get bored and move on to something else. It's a little ADD maybe, but probably I don't know if I'd classify it as ADD, because I could sit here for hours and do this, but I would just do it for a while and just want to do something else. So yeah, Funky, if you didn't hear, or Fun KY, if you didn't hear earlier, when I finish this cross stitch, I'll be doing the video on cleaning, ironing, and framing a cross stitch. So I'll be finally getting to that point, showing that off. Sorry, Fun KY. I was reading your comment and couldn't find my floss. Yeah, it would absolutely be the dream, just to be able to sit here and do any type of hobby. Of course, I know if your hobby becomes your job, then some people say that it's, you kind of lose your passion for it, but I don't know that would be the case, because like I said, I do have so many hobbies, and since you asked, I'll just go through a few of them. I do different types of needle and yarn crafts, like cross stitching, and I did try my hand at some embroidery, and I might could get into it, but I like the what would you say? I like the structure of cross stitch, because you've got patterns, you follow the patterns. You kind of have, everything is like laid out in blocks, and I like the way that is. And I know you have patterns with embroidery too, but I don't know, cross stitch to me is it fits the more the logical side of my brain a little better, I feel. But I'm also really into crochet, and I do some loom knitting, and then other hobbies. I also really like fishing, which is you could say a typical guy thing, but it's not just guys. But anyway, I really like fishing. I brew my own beer, so I am a home brewer. And my phone is buzzing for some reason. So homebrew. I like to collect things. Like, I'm very bad about collecting things. You can see this bookshelf over here has just a ton of stuff all over it. So collecting things. I know I've got a lot more hobbies than that. And I don't think the wife can hear me, or else she would be chiming in.
What?
Hobbies. I was asked what all the hobbies I have. I know. See her face? Can you see her face? Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot. So I just named a few. I was saying fishing and homebrew and collecting and yeah. So I do. I have a lot more. They'll come to me. Apologies if you answered. You know, I did think about using a floor stand. I don't really have any pieces that I work on that I feel like are really big enough to justify having a floor stand. Because this is about the size I would work on. And so I find in this frame here, I can easily just handle it, carry it around with me. I do have a slightly bigger one that I've been working on, which I showed off in the video I did on frames a week or two ago. And I mean, even with it, just keeping it on that frame, I find to be easier than having a floor stand, because I like to be able to carry my work around with me too. And so I don't want to have it, I have to go to one place to do my stitching. I could throw this in a bag and take it with me to work, and during my lunch break, sit there and work on it some. And that's kind of one reason why I probably wouldn't use a floor stand. If I was doing something larger, like if I was doing a much bigger piece, then I would probably consider that, because it wouldn't be easy to move around anyway. And so I like to do a lot of bookmarks too. I do have, it's not up here. I do have one I did recently, and like the bookmarks, they're so small that I don't even put those in anything to keep it tight. I just hold the Ada in my hand and stitch it, and then when I get done, I get done. Yes, the world does need more male cross stitchers, and I don't understand why people think that people just in general thinking that one hobby is a guy's hobby or a girl's hobby, to me is just ridiculous. Because you can make it, I guess I could say, you can make the hobby what you want it to be. And so there are probably, like I said earlier, I'm into homebrewing as well. And I can imagine that there are probably a lot of women out there who do like to drink beer. And if you were to say to one of them, oh, you like to drink beer? And like me, I also like to cook. So there's another hobby. I like to bake too. So if you were to go to one of them just like me and say, okay, you like to drink beer and you like to cook and bake, or, whatever, you like to make things. What if you were to try making your own beer? And, that may appeal to them like it appealed to me. And so it's not necessarily just a guy or a girl thing. And it's the same thing with cross stitching. Because just because it's cross stitching doesn't mean I have to cross stitch flowers and what most people might consider a girly thing. Because this cross stitch right here, it's Star Wars and Harry Potter. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. My wife is a huge fan of Harry Potter, and I like Harry Potter, and she likes Star Wars. But like, if you classified us, this one would be me, and this one would be her. And so this cross stitch, it would fit our son. And this was originally going to go in his room. saying that he's a Jedi like his father. Unless Hogwarts sends him a letter like his mother.
Lay down.
Yeah, she's right there. So it's not. Yeah, I don't like labeling things
Get in the bed and
as
lay down.
as a guy craft or a girl craft or a guy hobby or a girl hobby.
I don't care.
Because like with fishing too, I really enjoy fishing, but I have seen multiple women on YouTube who also love fishing. And they have YouTube channels that are based off them going out and fishing. And I think that's awesome. I think labeling a hobby as either a guy hobby or a girl hobby is really doing a disservice to that hobby. So, yes, we do need more male stitchers. That was my long way of getting around to that. Okay, I'm about to the end of my floss here. So, what I do, I'll kind of measure it. I'll show you guys this. I'll kind of fold my needle. Let me get it like this. I'll take my needle, where y'all can see it, and I'll do this, and I'll see where the end of my needle is, that I have just about an inch left that I can stitch. So I could probably get a couple more stitches out of this, and then I'm going to tie it off and cut it. So that was one. We'll do one more. There we go. So then this is another reason I like having it on a frame and being able to flip it, because then I just flip it over to the back. This is also one of the ways I'm able to keep my back so nice and tidy. I run it under 3 stitches. Pull my needle through. Pull it tight, and then I will grab my scissors, blue scissors. Again, out of all the colors they had, I preferred the color blue. That's just me. Snip it off, and there is the back, all nice and tidy. And that's how far I got. I got all the way down and a little bit over halfway back on one that one strand. Yeah, that's right. They are not just for guys or girls. Hobbies are for everyone. Doesn't matter what the hobby is. Okay, I need to find that color. Where did I put it? Because I thought I had it out here, and that's the other color. Okay, now I've got to find what I did. Oh, it's in here. Okay. And talking about collecting things earlier, I really like collecting trading cards, and I had gotten to the point at one time where trading cards are not cheap. So I was like, I'm just going to start buying cross-stitching floss because it is cheap. Although it has gone up. It used to be like 40-something cents a skein, and now it's like 60 cents at Hobby Lobby. But still, it's just 60 cents. And so I don't have a large collection of it, but I do have my two boxes here. The other one's getting close to being about halfway. So, but I decided I can just instead collect all of the embroidery floss, get one of every color eventually. And so this is about how long I start with of my floss. So you can see it's about that wide. And so what I will do, if you guys haven't watched the video, yeah, it's so much better to finish your line like that because it makes it nice and clean. Just run it under 3 stitches. You pull it tight, and those last few stitches pull down on top of it, and it holds it in. So what I do is I separate my strands. I'll pull one strand out, and since it's longer, I'll just do a little bit at a time so I don't get it tangled up or anything. So I pull out this one strand, because usually when you thread your needle, you thread 2 strands. So if you do it this way, it actually makes it where your needle won't fall off. So I'll get one end of the strand in my hand, pull it down, get any kinks or anything out until I get to the other end. And so then I just pull them to where they're even with each other. Grab that end, and I pull it all the way down so that I find the middle of this strand. And depending on whether you're right-handed or left-handed, holding it in one hand or the other may be easier. But I twist it a few times until I get just a little loop. And then I take my needle, I thread that loop through the needle, then I grab the loop, pull it through, and then I stick my needle through that loop and pull it to the end, and it makes a cow's hitch, I think is what that knot's called. A little hitch knot on the end of your needle, and there you go. Now you got 2 strands on here, and your needle is not going to fall off. And I love threading my needle that way. If you have to use 1 strand or 3 strands or any odd number, then that will not work. It only works with an even number of strands. So if you're working on a piece that says, oh, you need to do 4 strands, then pull 2 out and do the same little cow's hitch on the end. So this is what I do when I start a new strand. If you can see my tail end just kind of hanging out there. I leave about that much, and then I'll do 3 stitches. Let me see if you can see this. So I'll put my needle through, and then I pull it over that tail end, which is probably really hard to see on this camera, and it locks that tail down. So I will do 3 stitches on top of that. I know y'all aren't going to see me cut this. There we go, 3 stitches. I'll try. Yeah, y'all aren't going to be able to see it. But then I'll pull up my tail end like this. You can kind of see it. I'll pull it up and I will cut it. Let's keep that stitch pulled tight. Where's my floss? Where's my floss? There it is. Okay, I'll pull it up, and about 1.5 stitches down, I snip it off. So I still have just a tiny bit of a tail in there, and then I just take the rest of that and put it over with my floss I need to throw away. Tighten this back up, and there we go. We're locked in. So I get that locked in under those first 3 stitches. Uh-oh. Look at that mess. That's a good teaching moment there. Look, when that happens, just kind of pull it out. That means that more than likely your floss has some twists in it. So when you thread it this way with the cow's hitch, you can just let it hang, and all those twists will just roll out. And you can get back to work. If you do have a knot come up, and if I have one do it, I'll show you how to get it out. But if when pulling I'm going to try to make it happen. If when pulling your thread through your floss, you end up getting a knot that has a loop, you can take your needle and you can put it in that loop and pull it up tight until it just becomes a little bit of a knot, and 9 times out of 10 you pull your floss and that knot goes away, because usually it's just a little bit of a twist in your line that's sort of wrapped around a loop and wrapped around it and made a loop, and it'll just fix itself. But that's also one reason why I flip my work and this works for me. May not be what everybody does, but I'm able to quickly find where my needle needs to go, and I can watch my floss as it goes through. It helps to keep me from getting those knots and irritating things that can happen. How did I first get interested? I have been stitching on and off since I was about 11. My mother was a big cross stitcher when I was growing up, and so I watched her do it all the time, and for some reason or another I was like, hey, that looks kind of fun, can you teach me how to do it? So I sat down with her and she taught me how to cross stitch, and the very first one I did was a strawberry, which I don't have anymore. I don't know what happened to that strawberry, but the second cross stitch I ever did I actually do have. And if I can find... let me look right over here real quick. Because if it's in this book... I don't know if I'll... Well, it might be in this one, actually. Okay, let's see. So, this is my cross stitch book. Let's see. I think it's in here. Oh yeah, there it is. So the second cross stitch I ever did, and this kind of goes back to making the hobby your own. Doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, stitch what you want to stitch. So it was a bass. That was the second one I did. And then the third one I did was a sampler with like 5 different fish that I actually ended up giving to my grandfather as a Christmas present. And it had this bass in it. And I'll point out, as a beginning stitcher, you can clearly see where I did my back stitching before I finished the actual cross stitches. So there are some stitches on the bottom that are actually over the back stitch. And, always do your back stitching last, because that's the way it's supposed to be. But my work back then was not as neat on the back as it is now. So there's the back of that piece compared to the back of this piece. So I've learned a bit since then. But so I started when I was about 11, and I don't remember. I think those pieces were the only ones I did. I don't remember doing much more around that time, and so I just kind of stopped. I got out of it, and I think it was when I was in college. I just got the urge to pick it back up again and started stitching, and so that's been, that's probably been about 20 years. Yeah, so I started when I was 11, stitched a little bit, and then about 10 years later, 10 or 12 years later or so, picked it back up, and I've been stitching since then. Not constantly, of course, because like I said earlier, I do get bored with things, and I end up moving on to a different hobby. Oh, I just thought of some more hobbies. I'm getting into rock hounding, searching for cool rocks and crystals. And we actually went out about a week or so ago, and I found these. So this one I think is just a piece of quartz, but the way it's shaped is really cool. And then this one is another one that I think is a piece of quartz, but you can see it's got some other rock as part of it. I don't know if that's granite or what that is. So I thought that was cool. And then this one I think is a piece of granite as well, because it looks like it would be a piece of a countertop. Yeah. So I'm still not up on all the different types of rocks and minerals and stuff that we can find around here, but I'm getting into that. That interests me a lot. Oh, coin roll hunting. I have a wide variety of hobbies. Oh, if you guys only knew. So many things. I even got this thing right here. A little magnifying microscope thing so that I can search through coin rolls. I have one left right here that I haven't searched through yet. I can search through like rolls of pennies and look on that and find errors or things that have certain like double dies, those types of things that you can find that might be worth a little bit. I like video games. Video games are fun. Oh, making videos. I do like making videos. That is part of my day job as well, videos and photography. But I do also enjoy making them on the side, which is one reason why I have this YouTube channel. So, there's a few more hobbies. Oh, we're up to 10 viewers now. That's probably the most I've had on a stream so far. By the way, the poll that I posted yesterday, trying to decide what to do on this live, was overwhelmingly leaning towards cross-stitching. So, here I am, cross-stitching. Ugh. Tried to get hung on my frame there. So there you go. A little bit of my backstory into stitching. I have started diamond painting as well. I have not been diamond painting nearly as long as I've been cross stitching. I have not been crocheting as long as I've been cross stitching, but I have done quite a bit of crocheting as well. And the diamond painting started back a couple years ago. I actually had seen it before then, but I had a company find my YouTube channel and say, hey, you want to try our diamond painting out? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I've been wanting to try one of those. And so they sent it to me. And of course, I chose a humongous one because I apparently don't like to do easy things. So, and just as an aside, my cover, little snap-on thing on this side is getting a little too far out to the edge, so I'm popping it back on the inside a little bit, tightening it up. So I'll do that every now and then, just depending on how the work's looking. Any games in particular you enjoy? And cross-stitching ideas. Yes, there are games that I enjoy a lot, and yes, I have gotten cross-stitching ideas from them. If you take a look on my Etsy store, I think one of the only things I have up there right now are patterns for bookmarks that I made quite some time ago, but they are based on my all-time favorite video game series, The Legend of Zelda. I love Legend of Zelda games. They are my favorite. The new one on the Switch, Breath of the Wild, is probably... It would probably be in my top 3 all-time favorite video games. And so, yeah, I love The Legend of Zelda. I also like, I've gotten into Pokemon now. I do like Pokemon games. And there are a few other ones I've played. We have a PS4, and so there are a few games I like to play on that. I'm not into first-person shooters. I like the Halo games and games like that. I don't like those at all. More like adventure role-playing, like Zelda. Yeah. The house rules my mom has in the kitchen. Dead-ended. Please elaborate. Chloe, it's cool to hear about my hobbies. So, favorite cross-stitch or diamond painting projects you have done? Oh, My favorite cross-stitch project is a Legend of Zelda themed cross-stitch, and it's in the closet right now, or else I would pull it out and show it to you. But it is
That closet?
it's in that closet right there. Like,
Get it?
I got stuff in front of it. It's fine. I actually did a video back years and years ago about some of my favorite cross stitches, and it's in that video. But it's done all with gold floss, and this is like the metallic gold that is a pain in the butt to work with. And it's the Triforce, but it has every weapon and item from the Zelda games making up this Triforce. It's awesome, and I still haven't framed the thing, and I've had it for years, but I need to get me a frame for it and put it on the wall so that it will be displayed, because it is my favorite cross stitch. I've also done a huge Harry Potter. I think it was all the houses. That Harry Potter one I did, was it just Gryffindor or was it all the houses?
It was just Gryffindor.
Okay, it was just Gryffindor. Sorry, but I did this huge Harry Potter Gryffindor crest.
It's okay.
Which I'm gonna have.
Your own house, but whatever.
I'm gonna have to do another one now because I made it for the wife and she's a Ravenclaw. So anyway, that one was really cool. But I have had, and they are also not out here. Yeah, I've gotta get these things back up on the wall. But I've got some other ones that people have made for me that are Legend of Zelda, and they're really awesome as well. Diamond painting, I can show you. I have only completed 2 diamond paintings, and one of them is up here on the wall hiding behind the bookcase. You can see the edge of it, and it's a cheap one, a $5 one or $10 one I got off Amazon, of a tiger, and so it's okay. But then there is this one, which was the first one that I got, that I was telling you about, and it's really cool. But it's from it's a Victoria's Moon diamond painting, but I really like the setting of it, and I have a feeling the one that I have now that I'm going to start working on soon, that I got from Dreamer Designs, I have a feeling I'm going to like it a lot more, but I've got to finish the small one I'm working on, the lighthouse one. And here, we'll flip this around. Oh, that's another one I like. But I got to finish the little lighthouse one I'm working on before I can start on that big one. So I'll get that to sit still right there.
That one has the needle in it. Be careful.
All right, these are 2 other cross stitches that I've done. David Tennant. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. David Tennant was my favorite Doctor. But I also did a Matt Smith. And this is the, because the wife decided she wanted to get up and get them out for me. This is the Gryffindor crest that I did, which I don't feel like I left enough cloth around the edges. I'm still going to make it work framing it, but I should have left a little more around the edges to give me some room to work with. And then this one is my favorite one. Black Ada, all gold. I love this one, and I need to get this one framed. It was a pain in the butt to make, because this stuff, you talk about some floss that will kink up on you. Yeah, it's bad. But I got it done, so that was my all-time favorite one. And yeah, please check out my Etsy store. I don't have a lot up on it now. I am going to try to come up with more patterns. Thank you for getting those for me. I am going to try to come up with more patterns to post up there, and hopefully some to give away too. Just because I think it would be fun to make some free patterns. Money is nice, but I'm not in this all for the money. So anyway, back to stitching. Let's see. I'm just about done with this top line, and this is what I talk about. These sections that are just long, a long section that needs to be filled in. It can take a while unless you're just sitting there and that's all you're doing. And of course, that's not all I'm doing right now. It can take a little bit of time to get them all filled in. But I'm down to about the last 7 or 8 stitches. And then I've got to do a whole nother line. So, my wife really loves Mario. That's her favorite video game. Bless you. Bless you again. Oh, goodness.
I like the Lego games too.
Oh, yeah, and the Lego games.
I have the Harry Potter Lego on the Switch.
Yeah, she's been playing that one, the Harry Potter Lego games. And those, I like the humor behind the Lego games. They can have some funny stuff in them. So let's see, how long have we been going here? Does this thing have a time on it?
Over an hour.
It has been over an hour. I don't think this software shows me a time, but YouTube will. Yeah, right at just over an hour. Oh, Diamond Art Club has some Doctor Who diamond paintings. I need a new diamond painting. Okay, I will be checking those out because, yeah, I will definitely be checking out. I think it was Diamond Art Club was, my wife has done a couple of diamond paintings as well, and I think she did a Diamond Art Club, and I really, really like the canvas on that one.
Was it the mermaid one? Or was it the one that we did for Dad?
I can't remember. I think the mermaid one was diamond dots.
So it had to have been the
So
one
I think the one we did for your dad was Diamond Art Club.
Hold on a minute.
And their canvas, it felt like silky smooth on the back. And like Dreamer Designs has a very nice canvas. And if you get a diamond painting, like a cheap diamond painting from Amazon, and then turn around and get one from Diamond Art Club or Dreamer Designs or somewhere like that, then you will notice the difference in the canvas. So there we go. That line on the lightsaber is done.
Here.
So now I'm moving to the other one. Yes. Oh yeah. This is the one. This is the one that she did. And let's see. That's the one that she did, which is really bright on her phone. But I framed it up. I made a... come on, fingers. Get out of the way. I made like a wood piece on the bottom and a wood piece to go on the top to frame it.
If you zoom out all the way, you can see it. You have to zoom out.
Yeah. But this was a really nice one. I like the lakeside scene. But the canvas itself, like it was... Even Dreamer Designs, I mean, I would almost say I like this canvas better than theirs. But I'll have to check out those Doctor Who ones. Because I love some Doctor Who. Especially since I think I've seen the 11th one. You know what? I'm going to go look it up right now. Why not? Because I think I've seen that one before. Yeah. That one was Diamond Art Club that she did. So let's see. Let's just check here. It's a Jack Skellington. Let's search. The 11th. Oh yeah, I do like that one. Oh, it's like a stained glass. Yeah, they must be temporarily sold out on that one because it says coming soon, but has 87 5-star reviews. So yeah, I do like that one. Are there any like that? Ooh, I like this. They even have a spotlight on the artist who did this. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to finish up my Dreamer Designs paintings and get me one of these. I did see that I think Diamond Art Club now has the rights to Chuck Pinson art, I think, because Dreamer Designs does have some Chuck Pinson, but I think I saw that Diamond Art Club now has the rights to his, or the license to his new stuff, I think. How would I find the other one? I don't know. But I don't feel like me looking at a website while streaming is very entertaining. Anyway, I'll have to look through those later. Thank you for letting me know, though, because I do love some Doctor Who. All right. Oh, wait, you did say the 10th. Okay, I have to look that one up. I need to get a... Yeah, oh, I have seen that one, the 10th. I do like that one. That one's going on my wish list. That one is going on my wish list. Absolutely is. Okay. Amanda, you sure can. You can ask me whatever you would like about cross stitch, and I will do my best to answer it. Okay, so yeah, back to stitching. Rambled about other things for enough. So let's see how far I can get down this lightsaber. I do want to get this thing knocked out fairly quickly. I'm hoping, because all I have left is the lightsaber and the wand on the bottom. So I'm hoping I can get this done this week. And then over the weekend, next weekend, maybe film the washing and ironing video and get that out next week, because that has been years. It has been years since I should have made that video. So that is my hope. Guide says you need to half stitch with a single thread and make the do a half cross stitch with a single thread. Amanda, I don't know. You may not have seen my threading technique earlier. I always use basically 2 strands when I stitch. So instead of doing like one stitch twice, I thread it basically with 2 strands. But the way I thread it is I take one strand, I find the middle, and I do a cow hitch knot on my needle. So my needle is not going to fall off. I can let it hang, I can shake it. It's not going to fall off of my thread like it will tend to do when I first started stitching. I would just thread 2 strands of floss, and my needle would all the time fall off. And so I don't even remember where I saw this way to thread your needle, but I started doing it, and the only time I don't thread it this way is if I have to use, if I'm doing back stitching, which takes only 1 strand, or if I'm doing something that requires 3 strands for some reason, because I have seen pieces before require odd numbers like that. If I'm doing that, I can't thread it this way, and so I have to just put 1 strand or 3 strands on there. But if I'm doing an even number like 2, like just a normal cross stitch, I will thread it with this cow's hitch knot. And you can go find my cross stitching 101 beginners video, and I show it a little bit better in that video of how to do this. But that's what I do. I do pretty much all my stitching with 2 strands. And so I'll even go, like right now, I've got this long line of stitches. I will do half of the stitch all the way down the line, and then I'll come back and do the second half all the way back. And so I like to do that. To me, it seems to save time. But that's just the way I do it. That doesn't mean that you have to do it the same way. I think if you find a technique that works better for you, or that you enjoy doing more, if you like to do it 1 stitch at a time, then do it 1 stitch at a time. Because there's no reason to make it harder on yourself just because that's the way you're supposed to do it. Because in my mind, this is all art. This is not a technical, you have to do it this way, or it's not cross stitch. If it has, if you do a stitch where you put 1 piece of floss this way and another piece of floss this way and it makes an X, that's a cross stitch. So if you're not doing that, then maybe you're not doing cross stitch, but then you can say, I'm doing embroidery. So to me, there's no really, there are a lot of things that you can do differently and not cross stitching. I'm glad that makes sense. I tend to ramble sometimes. But yeah, do it what way works best for you. Some people still like to thread their needle with 2 strands, and that's what they like. I know some people will put their work in a hoop or in a frame, and they'll have their stitching session, and then they get done and they take their work out of the hoop, out of the frame, and have it laid flat somewhere, and they take their needle off and put it up, and that's what works for them. What works for me is to have it on this frame all the time, and if I want to carry it with me, I just throw it in a bag and I take it with me, and I leave my needle on the thread. I don't take it off, and sorry about bumping my mic there. But yeah, that's what works for me. It may not work for everybody else. This diamond painting right here that I was working on, I have it taped up to this board. I know people who probably, they'll work on their diamond painting for a little while, and then they might take it and roll it back up and store it away until they're ready to work on it some more. I like to leave it taped up to this board. It takes up a little more space sometimes. Or it can take up a little more space than maybe rolling it up, but that's the way I like to do it. So yeah, I don't like to. I know a lot of people have a lot more experience cross stitching than me, and I really like to hear their tips and everything, but just because somebody says you have to do it this way, that doesn't mean you have to do it that way. I mean, and honestly, if you're stitching and you like the way your piece looks, if you stitch with a full 6 strands, then stitch with 6 strands, because it's not gonna hurt anything. That's your cross stitch. It's not their cross stitch. Just like if somebody's working on a painting and they might take a bucket of paint and just throw it up against the wall and say, that's my art. That's fine. That's what they like. It may not be what I like, but that's what they like. Rocking and a rolling. Getting some green floss. Getting some green floss on some Ada. So, thank you guys for coming today. This has been fun. With the wife sitting in the background the whole time. And by the way, she does not cross stitch. So, there you go. For those people that think of things in terms of guy hobbies and girl hobbies, then I'm the cross stitcher. She is not. But she can sure read some books. I'll tell you that. She can pick up a book and have it read in a day and a half, if that. I do not read that fast. There's my phone buzzing again. So I'm running out of things to talk about. And, I do have a water down there. Thank goodness. My throat was getting dry. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Or like I asked earlier, anything y'all are working on? Anything you want to see in the future on this channel? Or, better yet, I have been considering, I mentioned this a couple times in other videos and other live streams, I have been considering maybe coming up with some Phil's Next Kick merchandise. So what do you guys think about that? Any suggestions on what type of merchandise, whether it should be just like my logo on a coffee cup or I don't know, some sayings or something. Not related to cross-stitching, that's fine. It doesn't have to be related to cross-stitching. I may have to pull her in on this. My favorite is probably Azkaban. Both the book and the movie. And that may partly be because those are the first ones I watched / read. I think I watched the movie first, and then I read the book, and then I was hooked on them. But as for her, I have a question for you. She has her earphones in; she can't hear me. I have a question for you. What's your favorite Harry Potter book and movie?
Deathly Hallows and none of the well, I like the first 3 Harry Potter movies. The rest of them are garbage.
So her favorite book is Deathly Hallows, and only the first 3 Harry Potter movies are good. The rest are garbage, according to her. Which, yes, they are. Once you get past Azkaban, there are a lot of differences from the books.
Let me rephrase that. I don't like Goblet of Fire. I don't like Order of the Phoenix, and I don't like Half-Blood Prince. There's parts of Deathly Hallows that I like, but I'm one of those people that like books better than movies anyway. But Deathly Hallows is my favorite book.
Yeah, the books are absolutely better than the movies. But I like Azkaban. I think it's just because it's the first one I read. What's your favorite one? Oh, and by the way, is your username Funky or Fun KY? And I've got I just had an idea come to me about a possible merchandise idea, which I may just roll with it. Let me just go with it and see if anybody's interested. What do y'all think about that? Just put it out there. And if people buy it, people buy it. And if they don't, then they don't. I've got to get this camera repositioned too, because every time I look at my screen, I'm just staring up. Alright, about almost halfway through. This bottom line. I'm hoping I've got enough floss on my... I'm not thinking I'm going to. I think I'm going to have to... Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. So yeah, lots of guys out there, guys and gals, that will stream the video games. And I'm streaming something that could be a lot more fun. Cross-stitching. And the wife has read something or heard something funny. She's watching TikTok.
Huh?
You were chuckling. I said you've heard or read something funny, and I was like, she's watching TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah. Funky. Okay. Ah, I got you. Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome that your mom read them to you. I was actually... See, I got my degree in music education because I was originally going to attempt to be a band director. And I was doing my internship at a elementary school because we had to do half at an elementary school and half at a high school level. And so I was doing the elementary school portion of my internship, and the teacher that I was under there, she let me borrow, I think, Azkaban, the movie. So that was when I watched it and got into the books. But yeah, the books are so much better. Yeah, see, I love David Tennant. And that's another good reason to like Azkaban too. Or at least the movie version of Azkaban. Yeah, I like Matt Smith, and I think that Matt Smith was a great doctor, but I just, like, everybody has their doctor, and for me, David Tennant was mine. And it may be because when I first started watching it, he wasn't the current doctor. Because I had to go back and watch all of season 9 and then David Tennant seasons, and I think Matt Smith may have been the doctor when I really got into the live episodes. But I also really like Capaldi, and I wish, I mean, he had some good episodes, but a lot of his to me weren't on the same caliber, like as far as the writing. To me, they weren't as good as the Tennant and Matt Smith seasons. And I have put my floss in the wrong hole. So let's go back. Let's fix that. Well, thank you, McCred. That's where I am now. Lightsaber's getting itself done. So yeah, and I like Jodie Whittaker now too. She's had some good episodes. But yeah, I will always love David Tennant. Always, always. All right. once again, I'm running out of things to say. I will say this. What do you guys think about the microphone? Because I just got it this last Friday, and I haven't really done anything to it to improve the sound, other than just bumping up the gain some so it gets plenty of volume. But this is a cross stitch that I started working on before our 2-year-old was born, and it was going to hang in his room. It just says, "I am a Jedi like my father before me," and then it'll have Luke's green lightsaber. And unless Hogwarts sends me a letter like my mother, and then a wand down here on the bottom. And so I was gonna hang it in. We were gonna hang it in his room, and we may still if he wants it in there. But we have started converting his room from like a baby room to a toddler / big boy room. So I had intended on having this done before he was born, but as things usually go with me, that did not happen. So I am now finishing it up because it needs to be finished, and either it will go in his room or it will go in here somewhere. But once I'm done, I will do I will use this to do a video on finishing a cross stitch, or the washing and ironing and framing part of it. Thank you. Yeah, I think there are probably some improvements I could do to make the audio quality a little better with this microphone, but I got to play around with it some. I think for now, because it was not very expensive, but for what I got with it, I think I got a pretty good deal on it, so I'm very happy with it. Alright, I am almost at the end of this half of these stitches. I feel like I've been talking for so long that my brain is running out of things to think. Oh, thank you, Funky. I'm glad it sounds good. I even watched a bunch of YouTube reviews on it because it was a $50 microphone, and like a lot of the microphones that streamers and YouTubers and other people use these days are like the Blue Yetis that are $100. It's like $100 is a cheap price point for a microphone. And if you get an even cheaper one, like a $50 microphone, usually all you get is the microphone. And this one actually had some decent reviews on YouTube, and it came with the microphone, the stand, and this pop filter. And so I was like, well, and it had a windscreen too, but I'm not using the windscreen because it's not windy in this room, so there's no need for that. So I said, $50 for all that, that's not a bad deal. So that's what I went with, and I really do like this arm here, and I'm not sure if any sound comes through when I move it because I'm not monitoring it right now. But so I'm not sure if any extra sound comes through, but I thought it was a pretty good deal for that. And I did think if I ever decide that I might want to do start a podcast or something, then having a decent little microphone would be good for that. Yes, cross stitching is very fun. You would think I would do it more often. But like I've said many times, I do tend to get bored with things and move on to something else. And the bad thing is not that I get bored with it and I move on. The bad thing is I get bored with it and move on in the middle of a project. I'm sure, Chloe, that there are. I want to say I've got one in my book down here that I have wanted to do, and I printed out the pattern. I can't remember because I haven't looked in that book in a while. Typically, though, with projects, with cross stitch projects that I do, I just happen to stumble across something, and I'm like, oh, I really like that. I want to do that, and I'll just start doing it. I have a few other little projects because, like, I've got this one, and let me pause for just a second and I'll show you. I've got this one that I'm working on, and then in my box here, I have a couple of little ones and just got some random floss laying on top. But I have, this is actually one of the patterns on my, I've got two of them here, on my Etsy store. That's one I started working on, of a bookmark. And I cannot, at one point I found some plastic canvas that I think was 20 count plastic canvas, and I cannot find that anywhere. I can only find 14 count, but you can find, like, I think this may even be 28 count, so I can make it smaller. Because when I made these patterns, I was like in the beginning of pattern making, and it was yeah, if you did this on 14 count, it would be huge. So I've got that one, which of course is not finished. I've got this one, which still has the needle on it, is not finished, but the color part of it is done. And then it's just, I decided, well, I'm just going to fill it in with white because that makes a lot of sense. So I get bored with that. And then this one, which is still not finished, that I did on plastic canvas, which is Hagrid. Because I found a bunch of these little Harry Potter characters, and I don't remember where I found them. But I have all the patterns for these somewhere. I probably have them saved, like in my Dropbox or something. But I saved all these and started working on Hagrid and figured I could turn it into a magnet or something. But talking about the
Finish and I'll ask you.
talking about the back of your work being neat. If you're doing something like a bookmark or a magnet, then that to me is kind of important. And so you look at the back of Hagrid. It's pretty neat. So yeah, it just, the best way to get a neat back is to practice. And then this was one that, this is not the pattern, but I turned it into a pattern and did that.
Oh,
So,
hold on.
or I was gonna do that. I think I did that one. Oh, this is something else too. If you guys have trouble with twisting in your line and stuff, then get something like this Thread Heaven thread conditioner. You just run your line through it. It works great. Oh, this is an old one I did. I did
Yeah.
a few of these.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, I found this pattern on, what was the name of that website? There is a website and a forum that I used to be pretty active in that has a lot of video game cross stitch patterns, and they've actually, like, one of the guys who's like the head of the forum who does the website and stuff, oh, it's got cobwebs on it. It's been hanging on the wall for a while, but he's done a few books as well and had people stitch pieces that are used for the images in the books. And so I've got a couple of pieces that he came up with a pattern, but I stitched the work in the book. A couple of those books that I actually have a copy of those books, but this was one of the patterns on their website, and so it's good grief, I can't remember the name of it now. It's a cool website. Look up video game cross stitches, and hopefully it will pop up, because that's a great place to find some patterns. But yeah, like, this is a good example of me getting bored halfway through a pattern, or almost all the way done, or through a project, getting bored and just setting it aside and not finishing it. So that's one thing I want to get better at, is actually finishing projects before I go, oh, there's something I want to stitch. Let me
How long's
start
he
it.
been asleep?
He has been asleep maybe an hour and 45 minutes. No, it hasn't been that long because
No.
I've been streaming for an hour and a half and he was awake for
Probably
probably about an hour.
About an hour. I thought we might go out there, but
So,
I'm not waking him up.
yeah, the child finally went to sleep. I don't know if y'all noticed, but he finally decided to give up and go to sleep. So, yeah, McCred, my mom taught me how to cross stitch, and back when I was 11 years old, she taught me, and I did about I did about 3 cross stitches, and then promptly stopped and didn't pick it up again until I was in college. And I've been pretty much doing it since then, but it's kind of been on and off. So, like I said, I'll stitch and I'll just get in this mood where all I want to do is cross stitch, and I'll just work on a project and work on it. Then I'll find something else I want to do, and that's why I have so many hobbies, because I have a hard time saying no to something that interests me. So here we are, almost at the end of this. And I think when I get to the end of this line, I'm probably going to call it a day on this one. So if you guys have any more questions, thoughts, comments, even advice, if anybody sees something I'm doing that you think I could do better. This particular one I started working on over 2 years ago. That doesn't mean that I've been working on this for 2 years, because it has sat unfinished for months.
Have kids, they said. It'll be
Yeah,
fun,
my plan was to have it done before our 2-year-old was born, and that
And
did
he'll be
not
3
happen.
in August.
Yeah, he'll be 3 this August. He's almost 2.5. Two and a half on February 17th. So almost 2.5. So I've been working on this for over 2.5 years. Well, no, I said I haven't been working on it. I started it over 2.5 years ago, but because I'll work on it part of the time, and then I'll put it down and do other stuff and forget about it and not be in the mood to work on it or whatever, then it just doesn't get done. That's probably the one thing I'm not very good at, is actually finishing things, or at least finishing them when I want to finish them in a timely manner. I said I was going to stop at the end of that row, and I just kept going. So I'm going to pull a line from The Office, because we're also big Office fans, but how's the image on that camera? Crystal clear, right? See if anybody knows what episode that's from, if you happen to be fans of The Office, the American version. Let's see. I will shoot until I get to the end of this bit of floss I have left. Well, thank you, McCred. Thank you for becoming a subscriber. You will quickly learn that I have a very wide range of interests, which is not a very good thing for my YouTube channel, because apparently YouTube does not do as It does not work as well for variety channels. You kind of have to have a particular niche. So it probably means I'm going to have to focus more on crafting in order to gain the popularity or success or whatever, I'll have to focus more on just crafting, but it's not going to just be crafting because I'm not the type of guy that can just stick with one thing. So it's going to be a wide variety of stuff. But the main focus of my channel is probably going to be crafting. Just because that's what seems to have drawn people in. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. Specifically, cross-stitching. Thank you, Funky. I'm glad you were able to come as well. And yeah, I was wondering about the time zones. Because it seemed like you... I'm just guessing that you might be over towards Great Britain or UK or somewhere in that area. And that is quite a difference in time zones. So, if so, I very much thank you for joining in. It has been a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that I will be able to stream every Sunday at this time. Looks like I got a couple more stitches and we're going to be done with this floss. So yeah, that's been my plan this year, is to every Sunday that I can to do a live stream around 2 p.m. Central Time. Yep. All right, let's tie this off. So I didn't last week. Just didn't have the motivation to do it. Didn't really have a good topic to stream on or to stream about. So if I can finish this stitch this week, then I may be working on my diamond painting next week. So you guys can come hang out and I will do some diamond painting. Speaking of that ladybug cross stitch, first of all, I'm very glad that I was able to help you, McCred. Those videos I made a long time ago. A smallish town in England. I've always wanted to travel over to somewhere in the UK. I love accents from over there as well, by the way. It's just, I don't know if that's weird. I don't know. But I've always kind of wanted to go to like Ireland, Scotland, and northern England, like that area. Not the big areas like London, because I'm not a big town kind of guy. But like the smaller towns like that. I've always wanted to kind of travel and visit some of those. But speaking about that, the ladybug cross stitch that I did the tutorials on, I have really got to get this room better organized. I have right here. Here we go. I knew it was around here. Back probably a few years ago, DMC, the floss maker, DMC, was doing this thing where you could sign up to be a DMC mentor. And so I signed up to do it. And hadn't really had a chance to do, and this is kind of what led me to do the cross-stitch tutorial videos on YouTube, is I didn't really have much of a chance around here to teach people, so I did the YouTube videos. And, oh, Chloe, you're also from the UK. That's awesome. I love having fans over in the UK, or let me rephrase that. I love having friends over in the UK. Yeah, so I am planning on doing more actual tutorial videos, and especially now that I have uh, another Doctor Who quote just came to mind from that funky every planet has a north. Yeah. Uh, but anyway, more tutorial videos. Especially now that I have a better camera that I can get a little closer in with the shots and everything. But that's where that pattern came from, and I do have a few more of those little kits left. So I'm thinking I may be giving away at least one of these kits. I might give away all three of them at some point. But this was, I don't even know if this has a date on it, because this program that they did, I don't even know if you can do it anymore. If you can sign up for it, because this was quite some time ago, and even had these little business cards that you could fill in your information, and a brochure about being a mentor. But yeah, so that's where that idea came from, was this DMC mentor program. And so I'm probably going to give away at least one of these ladybug cross stitches, and I don't know if they would get me in trouble. Probably not, but I may even take this pattern. Excuse me. This is a very simple pattern, and I have had other people comment and want to know where they could find it. So I may take this pattern and post it somewhere online, and I'll post a link to it on Twitter. I'll probably put it up on my YouTube videos or something. But post it where people can get access to it, so that if you want to do this cross stitch for yourself, you can. And I'll probably also post it on that video. And I may even redo that video, because I think I could probably do it a little bit higher quality now. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, because I want to start giving some stuff away to you guys. Yes. Yes, I am absolutely making more videos on cross stitching. I kind of got away from that for a while, because I've always been into trading cards, but I kind of got more into trading cards and started following a lot of people who were doing Pokemon card openings. And so I got into that and had my time with that, and I'm past that now. Plus, I can't find Pokemon cards around here right now, so that wouldn't work anyway. So yeah, a lot more cross stitch videos that I'm going to try to do. Throwing in some crochet, because I like crochet. Probably loom knitting. I have been doing some like mystery tackle box openings, but I haven't been able to actually do any fishing videos yet. But maybe one day I'll throw some of those in there too. Like I said, I've got a wide range of things I like to do, but definitely more cross stitching. So yeah, that's probably about all I have for today, because I did get to almost done with the blade of the lightsaber. So I'm going to keep working on this week. Hopefully next Sunday I will have a much better update on this. Hopefully next Sunday this will be done. That's my plan. But we all know how plans go. So yeah. If you guys have any suggestions on specific things you would like to see, feel free to comment. Go follow me on Twitter. The link to my Twitter should be down below. I also have a Facebook page that I set up. You guys can go on there and send me comments and stuff. You can send me comments on YouTube. Let me know any specific things about cross stitching, specific questions you would like that you have, because I do have like another video I want to do or top 5 tips for cross stitching, or even the top 5 or 10 things I hate about cross stitching. Videos like that. So knowing what you guys still want to learn, or what you guys want tips about, that would be a big help. And like I mentioned earlier, I've been thinking about doing some merchandise. So if you guys have any specific types of merchandise that you would be interested in, then let me know that too. Yeah. Yeah. Check out my Buy Me a Coffee down below. I love coffee. I don't know if I'd count that as a hobby, but I do love coffee. So can I do a car? Like a cross stitching a car? Oh, hey, Lulis. Thank you for subbing, and thank you for joining in today. Yeah, Macred. You mean like, can I cross stitch a car, or can I build a car? Because my dad was actually he was a mechanic, and he would rebuild cars and stuff, and so that's something I've had a small bit of interest in, but not enough to actually spend the money and take the time to do it. So I can make something. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, yeah. Luli's actually the one of the first cross stitches I ever did. I talked about this earlier in the stream, but it was one for my grandpa, and it was a sampler with a bunch of different fish, and yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I have a few different Zelda cross stitches. Yeah, I like the if you're talking about the Triforce one with the gold, which I encourage you all at one time attempt to use some metallic floss, because it is a learning experience in itself. Yeah, it can drive you crazy. I could cross stitch a car. Well, I mean, not like I could do a cross stitch of a car, but I don't have any patterns for one right now. But I'm sure there are patterns out there for cars. Any specific car? There are pattern makers like the one that I use called Stitch Fiddle. It's just stitchfiddle.com. You can go and get an image and upload it to the website, and it will make a pattern out of that image. And they're not always the best patterns, but you can play around with the number of colors in the pattern and the number of colors, the size of the pattern, in order to make it more detailed. But it's like with both cross stitching and diamond painting, if you're doing a highly detailed image and you want it to actually look like the image, then it's gonna have to be big, and it's gonna have a lot of colors. Because if you want to do, like, say I took a picture of, I've got this laying here, so this Pokemon card. So if I took this image and uploaded it to Stitch Fiddle, it would not look, especially if I tried to do it this size, you wouldn't be able to tell what it is, because there's so much detail in that image, so many colors in that image, that you would have to make this really big. So like if I put this in there and then I increased the size to about the size of this diamond painting and gave it, I don't know, 50, 60 colors, then it might look all right. But that's the trick if you have something really detailed. Oh yeah, any car. I'm sure there are actually patterns of cars out there. If you can't find them, like I was saying, you can make a pattern. You just have to play around with it, but be careful with it. If it's got a lot of colors, a lot of detail, keep in mind it's not going to look exactly like the picture. You knit it and crochet, but cross stitching look fine. You're talking Luli's. You're talking about this is counted cross stitch, where you have a pattern and you just get you have a blank piece of cloth. Yeah, when you have a piece of cloth that has the image printed on it, I think that's printed cross stitch. It's got a name. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I do have a kit that has the printed on it. I've never done one, but it's yeah, it's the same. You just don't have the holes in the cloth. And sometimes I think you do have the holes in the cloth, but it just already has the image on there. It's for a beginner though, I would recommend do something small that does not have many colors, just so you can get your technique down. Don't start with something that's going to be let me see. I'll show you an example. Okay. I would say go somewhere. Oh, thank you, Lulis, for the super chat. This is actually the first super chat I have ever gotten. So thank you for that. So I would say don't start with something like this. Even though it's small, it's pretty detailed. There's actually quite a bit of back stitching in this. And until you get your technique down a little better, back stitching can be a pain in the butt. But this is one that I bought this, I don't even know how many years ago. I actually bought it to do for the wife back there and still haven't done it. But there's a much larger version of this one too. So I would say before doing the larger version, I would do the smaller version. Just because you're not having to deal with hundreds of colors and all this stuff. And this one also looks like it has... I can't tell if this one has any specialty stitches, because you have your regular cross stitch, and then you have like your back stitching, which is your outlining. And then, yeah, she's been sitting back there the whole time watching TikTok. But then you have other stitches like half stitches, quarter stitches, French knots. I do not like French knots. I do them, but I don't like them. But start with something that the easiest thing you can find. The very first cross stitch I ever did was a strawberry. It's just a strawberry. And so it was very basic, like 2 colors, red and black. But it had cross stitches, it had back stitching, and I think it had some French knots in it. So you can practice those techniques on something very simple, like a strawberry or something. And not do something really big and take the chance of like maybe messing it up or something, which I'm going to tell you right now, there have been plenty of times I have messed up and I just roll with it, because 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to notice if there's a small mistake in it. Oh yeah, Chloe. Yeah, definitely I can do some cross-stitching lingo, like what is this called? Is it thread? Oh, it's called floss. But I call it thread. I mean, cross stitchers call it floss. The cloth. Is this cross stitching fabric? Or is it Ada? Like the technical name is Ada, but it's fabric. It's, you know. So yeah, definitely I will probably do that. Talking about useful equipment, I did do a video on frames and hoops and stuff. I don't like hoops. I like these. I think somebody commented on my video, I think these are called Q snaps. But it's basically PVC with these little PVC pieces that snap onto it. I love these frames. You have to get them in different sizes for different size projects. So it's not a one size fits all type thing. But these are my favorite. I don't like hoops. So I did do that video, but there are plenty others I can do as well. And yeah, dimensions kits can be, yeah, they can be fun. Yeah, Kirby cross stitch. Okay, so Luli's, I need to find this website because I mentioned this website earlier. Video game And it should hopefully come up. Maybe. Okay, let's see. Okay. This person was on. Okay, there is a forum that I was saying earlier, I used to be big in this forum. And it's actually a website and has a forum tied to it. But there are a lot of, Sprite Stitch, SPRITE, stitch.com. And actually, I'm going to post it in the chat. So, I have to sign. Oh, come on. Hold on. Yep. Of course, it's going to close. Okay. So, let me go here. I'm going to post this in the chat. Spritestitch.com. Check this website out. They have a lot of video game patterns. I think they're all still free. And it's not just cross stitch now, because it looks like there's papercraft. So this is just like a crafting website, but at the top, that's not it. There's a Sprite Stitch forum, and I don't see how to get to it now, but they do have crochet and cross stitch and all sorts of stuff on there. Let's see. Let's get back to here. I had some more comments. I stream right now. I am attempting to stream every Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Yes, McCred. Sundays. That's my plan. Sometimes I'm not here right at 2, but around 2 p.m. Central Time in the U.S. So yeah, Luli's that Sprite Stitch. I have seen some Kirby cross stitch patterns there. But I would say even just search. Just do a Google search and search for Kirby cross stitch patterns. I'm sure there are some on Etsy as well. Let me put my chat box back up here. There we go. I'm sure there are. Oh, sorry. You work on weekends? Man, that stinks. I'm sure. Like I was going to say, I'm sure there's some on. Hey, I watch YouTube. Well, I'm not going to say all the time, but I do watch YouTube sometimes when I'm at work. I mean, my job is video and photography, and so I'm on YouTube.
No, not at work. At home?
Oh, I watch YouTube all the time at home. Like, I'm sitting in the living room with the TV on and I'm watching YouTube.
Yep.
Like, I love watching YouTube. But I do watch, like, during my lunch break at work. If I'm on a break or if I'm in a downtime, like if I'm working on a big video and it's exporting and it's going to take, If I'm working on something, it's going to take it, an hour, 30 minutes to an hour to export. I'll sit there and watch a couple YouTube videos. I love YouTube. A lot of other YouTubers I've seen, they say they don't really watch much YouTube. I watch YouTube a lot. It would be my top social media platform.
It's a hobby.
Yes, watching YouTube is another hobby. Well, thank you, Caden. Thank you for the sub. I need to find a way. I know, like on Twitch, when you're streaming, you can have new subscribers pop up, and it like does an alert. And I don't know if there's a way to do that on YouTube. I haven't found a way yet, but I want to find a way so that when I'm streaming, somebody subscribes and it goes, "Boom! Welcome, new subscriber." Because I think that's really cool. And I want you guys to be recognized. And I don't have I know a lot of other channels have a way to join the channel as well, like a paid subscription thing, and I don't have anything set up like that right now. But I do want to eventually have something like that set up, whether it's through YouTube or Patreon, where you guys can join and have access to more things, like maybe a Discord server where we can all get together and chat throughout the week. We can post projects and things. So like access to a Discord server, or some free patterns, because that's one thing that I want to do more of, is to create more patterns. Things like that. Maybe a chat time other than the Sunday live streams, because I know everybody can't make it on Sunday. I can schedule my live stream at a certain time and everybody's not going to be able to make it. So things like that. I want to be able to offer things like that to you guys as well. Oh, yeah, that's nice. I did a few security type jobs one time, just as like a temporary thing over the holidays. And it was basically sitting in the car at the front of a trailer park and monitoring people coming in and out. And not much was going on, so I could just sit there and just do whatever. I don't think I had any crochets at that time, but a 3D cross stitch. That's a good question. And I think yes. I will say yes, because you can get this. You can get plastic canvas, and I want to say I've actually seen a pattern for this, and this is just an example. And I would say most of them would probably need to be more of more of like a cube type shape, because I have seen like tissue boxes that have been cross stitched. But you can get this plastic canvas, and you can do like one side and then put another side and stitch it to it. So you could do, like from Star Trek, you could do a Borg cube, or things like that. Yeah, I do plan on doing Sundays. I don't know if I'll be able to go live any days other than Sundays, but I do also I want to really get into the habit of having at least one or two other videos a week that aren't live videos. And I do sort of have a Discord. I just don't have it linked to anything right now. And yes, Lulis, I saw your message before you retracted it. I do have a Facebook page and a Twitter. And I have an Instagram, but I don't really use Instagram that much, so I don't use Instagram that much right now, so I'm not really promoting it, because if I can't be on there interacting with people, I don't want people to start following it and then me not be on there. So I am on Twitter quite a bit though, so if you guys follow me on Twitter, you can message me. I'm on Facebook quite a bit too, so either one of those. Coraline, I'm sure there are patterns out there. There are patterns. There are probably patterns out there for just about anything you can imagine. And like I was saying earlier, if they're not, you can try to make your own. Yeah, I'm sure they're Coraline patterns though. Yeah, like I said, I do have Instagram. I just don't use it as much as I should. Eventually, I will probably start using it more, especially if I start having more projects that I finish, and actually posting progress photos of those projects, and finished photos of those projects as well, because that's what Instagram would be. It would be good for that. A movie cover? I don't know that I would have a movie favorite movie cover I would like to cross stitch, but I just like certain things from movies, and I don't know that because I don't really have like a top favorite movie. I just have a lot of movies I like the Star Wars series. That would be one of my top.
Hitchhikers.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Of course, the books are better than the movie. Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. And I've got some. I actually have one. It's like a cross between Lord of the Rings and Legend of Zelda. No. Yeah, I've got a couple of cross stitches that people did for me in swaps and stuff. One of those is a quote from Lord of the Rings, "Not all who wander are lost," and I love that quote. And then I've got another one, I know it's Tingle from The Legend of Zelda, and I can't remember what it says on it, but I want to say it's like a mix between that and something from Lord of the Rings. But I don't have it here. I think it's at my office. So I'll have to look at that one. Hello, Naomi from Northern Ireland. I don't know what a needle minder is. So, no, I don't use one of those. I am a big fan of Ireland, though. I would love to go there one day. Oh, I started rewatching my brain has gone blank. The first Lord of the Rings movie. I started rewatching it a few days ago, and then I watched a little bit more of it yesterday.
You started rewatching The Lord of the Rings.
Yes, the first movie, Fellowship of the Ring. So I've been watching it in spurts. I need to know what a needle minder is now. Needle minder. Is it? Oh.
What is it?
Something to hold your. Oh, okay. So you put it on your work and it holds your needle like a little magnetic. That's kind of cool. So what you're saying is, with a needle minder, I would have it on my work and it would keep my needle there instead of dangling. Right? Oh, yeah, I'm seeing that. That's what I'm seeing on Etsy. Made out of a pin. Oh, that's pretty awesome. 2 magnets. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't have one of those. I've never used one, but I do like that idea. That is pretty cool. I see. Cross stitching keeps me out of the psych ward. That's one I'm looking at on Etsy right now. Yeah, the old Transformers movies. I remember the first Transformers movie when it came out in theaters. I left the theater that day just waiting for a car to turn into a big robot. I mean, it was Michael Bay and lots of explosions, but the first one to me is usually the best. But that movie, yeah, it just blew my mind at how realistic they looked, and then they started getting kind of cheesy. But I still like them. I haven't watched the Bumblebee movie yet, but I want to watch that one. Yeah. Well, thank you, Caden. I'm hoping I can start making a lot more videos. I just gotta get the oomph to do them sometimes. Oh, nice. Yeah. I may have to get one of those. Now, I usually don't have to worry about losing needles because of the way I thread my needle with that cow hitch knot on it. It doesn't fall off. So my needle always stays with my work unless it gets cut somehow. But I can see it being very useful because I'll have like this work right now. My needle, my floss is not very long because I need to tie it off or I need to cut it. I've already run it up under my stitches, but a lot of times I'll just leave it hanging there, and I've got that much floss, so I can see it being very useful just to take it and use one of those needle minders to stick it right there, and it just stays right there with my work. Yeah, I feel that way about a lot of movies, about the romance part of it. It's like they take a good story and they think, oh, we need something extra. Oh, let's make these two people fall in love, and there's no need for that. Mm-hmm. Not always. Mm-hmm. Or they throw in extra things because Hollywood thinks that it needs something extra.
Or they change an entire character arc like they did in Goblet of Fire.
Exactly. They make these big changes, and it's like you have this great story or this great book, and oh, that's a good point, Naomi. It doesn't strain the holes. Yeah. Okay. I'll be getting me a needle minder. But anyway, with the movies, they have this great story or this great book, and they take it and they
chop it up.
They, for lack of a better term, they ruin it by either cutting pivotal stuff out, or they see, I cannot get into Walking Dead. I've tried and I can't get into it. A Yu-Gi-Oh phase. I used to be into Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know what a phase is. Oh, wait, I do know what a phase is. Yeah, I did have a Yu-Gi-Oh phase. Yeah, well, the spelling, it threw me off, sorry. Yeah, I went through a time where I was into Yu-Gi-Oh quite a bit, just like with other card games.
Magic.
Yeah, I was into Magic for a little while. It all started with the Star Wars CCG back in the late 90s. I loved that game. That was one of the best card games I've ever played.
You're so old.
I'm getting old.
You got another year before you're old.
Yeah, but I went through a Yu-Gi-Oh phase. Blue Eyes White Dragon. Yeah, all that good stuff. I even had the little arm thing where you put the cards in it and you play like that. Yeah. I get into these things. When I get into something, I get into it all the way. The third movie. So in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, when they threw that in there when he was finally in the Darth Vader outfit, and he stood up on the table, and Palpatine told him what happened and everything, and then he's like, no. Yeah, that was no. I understand what George Lucas was doing with that because of when Luke found out that Vader was his father, and Luke goes, no. But it's not the same. Not the same at all. It was when Luke did it, it fit. When Vader did it, it was cheesy as crap. See, I never got into Dragon Ball Z. I know I've seen a lot of people who have, and I'm sure it's awesome, but that's just one of the things I never got into. But I did have some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, and I watched the movies and the anime. Yeah, I got into some Yu-Gi-Oh. And I could probably find a few Yu-Gi-Oh cards laying around somewhere, because like I've said, I'm into trading cards. And I can just reach over here and pull out a thing of these are just random cards, but of course it's in a Pokemon box and a Legend of Zelda card, which those are some sets I would like to finish. What's this one? This one is a autographed Javi Lopez from the Braves, which I actually sent this card to him in the mail, probably like back in the 90s. You could you could send mail like to baseball players, and you probably still can. But I sent him a card. I sent Tom Glavine a card, and I sent one to Ryan Klesko. And I got the Javi Lopez, and I got Tom Glavine, which may be in here. They both autographed them and sent them back. Is this it? Oh, here it is. This one is awesome. Tom Glavine autograph. And I still have the envelope where they sent them back to me. So that's an authentic autograph, but I mean, other than the envelope I got back, there's no way to prove it. But yeah, baseball cards. Here is a Captain Jack Harkness Doctor Who cards. I mean, I'm into some trading cards now. Pokemon cards are very awesome. I haven't been able to find them around here lately, though. And Luli's, you're not weird. Oh, let's see. Comments coming in now. Marvel or DC? That's a tough question. Movies? I don't know. Movies, I have... The current state of movies, I have to go with Marvel, because Marvel has put together a universe that is just... It's just amazing what they've done and how they keep it all together. And just the storylines, they intertwine so well. So with the movies, I'm going to have to go with it. At least the Marvel, like starting with Iron Man through Endgame. DC, though, I like DC characters. I love Superman. My wife loves Batman. I like Batman too. My favorite has always been Superman. For some reason, I love Clark Kent, Superman, mild manner reporter, all that stuff. So I like them both for different reasons. Spider-Man, I hadn't really been able to get much into Spider-Man until Tom Holland. I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and I'm really kind of looking forward to the new Spider-Man movie, since they're apparently bringing in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, an older villain. So I know they're pulling in all this multiverse stuff, and that's probably why. But excuse me, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with that. But I think Tom Holland has been a great Spider-Man. Yeah, DC. Yeah, I like Marvel and DC. I like them both. Yeah. I don't think I have any Marvel or DC stuff around here. Well, I might, but... Oh, speaking of Lord of the Rings, I need to get this mounted back on the wall. Oh. But I've got this beauty right here. It's Aragorn's dagger. The one that he stabbed, the elven dagger that he stabbed the troll with. This is like one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia, or movie memorabilia, or whatever that I have. It's awesome. I love this thing. I used to have a big Anduril. It was not the official one. Like, this is the official. What brand is it on it? Official Lord of the Rings. Who made this? I know there's a Master Replica. Like, this is the official Master Replicas. And I'm eventually going to have it hanging on the wall behind me. But like, this is my favorite movie memorabilia that I have. I did have a plastic version of Sting that lit up at one time, and I think I ended up selling it. And I had the Anduril, which was a very cheaply made one that I got for cheap. I'd love to have like a real version of Glamdring. Eventually I want to go to Disney and build my own lightsaber, all that sort of stuff. I love movie replicas too, but this is the only one I have right now. Oh. So, yeah. I still haven't seen the first Venom movie. I need to watch it. Yeah, couldn't take it on the plane. Yeah, they don't. I don't know why they don't let you take like knives and stuff on the planes now. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I always have my mask with me too. Yeah. Which is, of course, fishing. Plug for Mystery Tackle Box right there. Oh, man. This has been fun, guys. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I could afford a real lightsaber. I do want to go to Disney, though, and go through the build your own lightsaber thing that they have, which I think is like $100 or something to build your own. But when you look at the price of lightsabers, like just on the websites, $100 isn't bad for one, because most of those are around that price anyway, just for the lightsaber replicas. But I even had I bought a little flash tube one time because I was going to make a lightsaber. It was like the exact same flash tube that they used to make Darth Vader's lightsaber in the original films, but it was just it was a little bit smaller. So I was gonna, no, it wasn't. It was Anakin's lightsaber. Yeah. So I was gonna make I was gonna make my own Anakin's lightsaber and just never got around to it. Yeah. Maybe some crafting for cosplay. That's something I've always been interested in but never done. So maybe I could do that at some point. Where are we? Oh, we have 2 dogs. We have had them since we've been married. So our first one we got back in 2009, and so they're getting up in age now. But our first one, she's like a beagle mix. We got her back in 2009, and then we got our second dog about 6 months later. So they're going to be 11 this year, I think. Yeah. Yep, 2009. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it's 2021 now. Ah, man. Oh. Yeah, I've never actually done cosplay, but I've always been interested in it. Just like for Halloween, I love dressing up at Halloween and stuff too, and coming up with costumes. And you think I'd be better at it, but I do have, and I keep talking about all these things that I've done. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, I grew up we had cats growing up, and we had a lot of them that either ran off or passed away, and that's always a sad thing. I'm not looking forward to when our 2 dogs pass away, but I know it's coming. I was gonna say, talking about crafts, or back on crafts, I did knit a Doctor Who scarf, the 4th Doctor, and it's not the exact colors because I just used what I had on hand, closest thing I could to what the pattern was. But this thing is humongous, and living where I live in the southern United States, in Alabama. It rarely gets cold enough just for a regular scarf. So wearing this 4th Doctor's scarf, I think I've worn it maybe once. It doesn't get very cold here, so. But that was a long project to make, literally and literally. Yes, Caden, what is your question? And Chloe, that stinks that they haven't allowed pets. Cats can be fun. Cats can be very, very temperamental, though. It depends on the kinds you get. We've had some sweet cats, and we've had some very temperamental ones. I have not watched all of the Pokemon. I started watching Sun and Moon, and I've watched some of the older ones, but I haven't made it through all the sun and moon. That's where I can see how long almost 2.5 hours I've been streaming. Caden, I actually answered this earlier, but you weren't here then. I started cross-stitching. My mom taught me when I was 11 years old, and I did about 3 cross-stitches. The first one I ever did was a strawberry. The second one was a fish. It was a bass. And the third one I did was a sampler of different fish, including that bass, for my grandfather that I gave him for Christmas. And after that, I just stopped. And I picked it back up when I was in college, probably about 10 or 12 years later. 10 to 12 years later, I picked it back up, and I've pretty much been stitching ever since then. And so that's been roughly about maybe 15 to 20 years I've been doing it since then. And it hasn't been constantly. It's been on and off. It's like I'll work on a project and put it away for a few months and pick it back up. Yeah, I've been stitching for a while. Thank you, Lulis. I've heard other people say I have a great personality, so maybe I do. Oh, and I do also love fishing. I've got all my fishing gear is like right over here to the side. So I've got all my tackle boxes and my oh nope, those are cards. My mystery tackle boxes that I get every month with all my lures and stuff. This was this last month's. This was January's. Yeah, that I haven't actually done a video on it yet. So I'll probably do an unboxing video one day this week, because I do love fishing. Also, lots of hobbies. So yeah, thank you guys. This has actually been, I will say, my best live stream that I have done so far. Yeah, COVID has not been friendly. I will say the restrictions down here in Alabama have not been quite as we haven't been restricted quite as much in Alabama as other states, because I know, like, I keep hearing that, like, California is still on big lockdown. Or they've been locked down a lot. I guess maybe Washington still is. But we haven't been actually locked down. We're just not required. But we have a mask mandate, so we walk around with these flimsy little cloth masks, which I know don't really do much to protect me. Oh, thank you, Lulis. Thank you. That's my second ever super chat. You guys are awesome. But yeah, we haven't really been locked down. We did actually, like, we've still been going out to eat and stuff, and Alabama State. Yeah, that's in Montgomery. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think Alabama State or Alabama A&M. I don't know. I went to Auburn, and I actually work at Auburn. So Auburn University is my alma mater and my current employer. So I don't know why I'm doing that, but War Eagle. But anyway, so yeah, we've still been going out to eat every now and then, and we went out for lunch today after church and went to a restaurant, and they were just packed. Like, they have not been that packed this whole time. And, for a few months there, we didn't go out or do anything. We just kind of stayed around the house. We would go to the grocery store, but it's like now all of a sudden, everybody down here is just like, oh, everything's fine. Let's go along with our business. And the virus hasn't disappeared. And we've actually had pretty high numbers down here for the past few weeks. Like, all since Christmas, really. Like, the numbers have just gone up. They're starting to come down a little bit more, but people are just, for some reason, they're all of a sudden like, oh, everything's fine. and because of that, because like the restaurants down here, they're not closed, but they have been restricted, so they can only allow like a certain number of people. They have to do the 6 foot distancing between tables and everything. And so we went to one restaurant, and they were just, they had a wait, and it was just me and my wife and our son, so like 3 people, which normally if you have a wait, it's going to be like 5 to 10 minutes for 3 people, and it was like 30 to 45 minutes for 3 people. And I know it's the combination of more people for some reason deciding to go out now, and the restaurant's still being restricted. But it was a little frustrating. So my favorite football team, my favorite college football team is 100% Auburn University, because they are my alma mater and because I work there mostly. I like football, but I don't really have a favorite NFL team. I would just be like, I'm more than a casual fan, but I'm not I'm not incredibly invested in football. I can kind of take it or leave it. But I do cheer for all of Auburn's teams, just because. I mean, I know plenty of people who have graduated from our rival, the University of Alabama. And of course, I would expect them to pull for the University of Alabama because that's their alma mater. So, and unlike a lot of Auburn fans, I don't really have anything against them. I have some problems with some of their fans, but yeah. Yeah, I think people thought with this new year that it was going to be like, hey, 2021's here, COVID's gone. And I kept telling people that's not how that works. You're not just gonna, flip to the next day and it's just gonna magically disappear. So, yeah, I saw that the UK had gone back on lockdown, and I know it can be good, but I know it stinks. It's yeah, nobody wants lockdown, but sometimes it has to happen. And I know I say smaller, but the U.S., I don't know that a countrywide lockdown would even be possible, just because the U.S. is so large in both size and with the states. Like the way it works, I don't think the federal government would be able to impose a lockdown, because that would be up to the states and not the federal government. And so, if the entire U.S. could have gone on a lockdown for 6 weeks, would it have stopped COVID? I don't know. Maybe it would have helped, but there are countries like the UK who had gone on a lockdown and now they're in lockdown again. So yeah. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this virus at all. Now I do work where I work in Auburn is in the College of Sciences and Mathematics, and we do have a professor that's been doing research into viruses like COVID, and she actually did get some work, I think, on COVID, and we've done a couple of interviews with her and stuff, and I've talked to her back at the beginning of all this, and I don't remember where I was going with that, but like back then, people were even saying, if you're just smart about this, because if this virus spreads through the air and not through, like it could spread through touching things, but like if someone else had touched this bottle and it got some of the virus on it, and then I go and touch this bottle and wipe my hands on my face, then there's a chance I'll get it from that. Like I just did that, But if I touch this bottle and then I go and wash my hands with soap and warm water for 20 seconds, that will break down any of the viruses and wash them off my hands. And so that helps it from spreading that way. But the problem, from what I understand with this virus, is it spreads mostly through the air. So if you're in the same room with somebody, you're not necessarily going to get it. But if you're in like within 6 feet of somebody, and you stand there talking to them without wearing a mask or anything, then the air that you're breathing out, that you're talking, can travel that distance. And like, from one thing I heard, if you stand there and talk to somebody for 2 minutes, then that may not be enough time for you to get a critical exposure in order to get the virus. But if you talk to them for like 30 minutes, standing 2 feet away, 3 feet away, then there's a decent chance that you've got enough exposure, if they have it, to get the virus yourself. I mean, there are so many variables with this virus that I wouldn't be good to advise anybody on what to do with any of this. But there have just been so many variables that I think there's no good reason not to just continue living your life. And of course, if the government says that you have to lock down, you have to stay home, then there's not much choice you have. But other than that, I mean, I don't see any reason not to go on living your life. Just be smart about it. If you do want to go out and you're worried about getting the virus through the air, then I know there are some really good mask options out there. And there is one guy, if I can find, I haven't actually found his video. Let me look through these comments real quick. Oh, Luli's, the U.S. is definitely weird. And not just from this virus stuff. Oh, Chloe, I'm very thankful that cross stitching can help keep you going. Yeah, I know a lot of people have had to find things to keep them going while being at home, and so I'm very thankful I could help you out. Huh. A random person. I know a few people who have gotten COVID, and it's that's probably the strangest part to me, is I know a few people who are my age who have gotten it and have been in the hospital for at least a week. And then I personally know 2 people that I used to go to church with, and one of them, they're both older, and one of them is not in good health at all. Like, he's in very poor health, and they both got the virus. And the husband ended up, I think he got the cocktail that like President Trump got. I can't remember the name of it, but I think he got that. It was like in a few days he was better. He was fine. And we were kind of worried that him being in such poor health, that if he got the virus, that would be it. But he got the virus. In a few days, he was better. The wife ended up having to go to the hospital for a few days for some breathing treatment. But then she was released and she's fine now. So, but yet, I personally know a guy who is my age who is in the hospital for at least a week or 2 because he was having breathing trouble. And it's strange to me. And then our next door neighbors got it. And the kids didn't really get that sick. They had a little bit of a fever, I think. And I think the wife felt a little cruddy. And the husband just had a headache. And 2 of our best friends had it, and their kid, and they were just on and off, just feeling like they had a cold. But then you have people who get this, and they're just, it's bad. Like, you don't know how it's going to affect you. Because I feel like, and I personally feel like we have had it, just based on the way, because we were sick back in February of last year. And it was just like a bad cold. But nothing I took would touch it. And I didn't really have any trouble breathing. I didn't really have any of the not tasting, not smelling, any of that stuff. It was just like I had a cold. But my father-in-law he got the same thing we had. And looking back on it a couple months later, he said that there were times that he felt like he just couldn't breathe. And so I kind of feel like we may have had it then, but at the same time, I feel like my health is probably good enough that if I was to get it, I'd be all right. But at the same time, I don't really want to test it, So, I don't know. It's, I was going to look something up and I've done forgot now, and I got talking about this virus. The mask. Yeah. There's a guy I've been watching on YouTube, and he made a video about, because his wife is high risk. And so he made a video about the best. Oh, come on, YouTube. The best mask to wear, not just to help protect others, but to protect yourself. And let's see, here's his channel. If I can find this video, I will post it in the chat. Let's see here. Can I search his channel? Let me search. You're not going to let me search. Let me do this. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. I apologize if the audio starts playing. Okay, because it's coming through my headphones. All right, let me get this. Share. Copy. Okay, I'm about to post this in the chat. So if you're interested in learning more about masks, then go check that video out. Yeah, Lulies. I think that COVID was here in the U.S. way before like the first case in February. And I think a lot of people had it and didn't realize what it was. But that also, it's weird to me because we weren't seeing the numbers of people dying from it then, but everybody was sick. And you mentioned it might have been the flu. People were getting sick and thought they had the flu, and they would go get tested for the flu, and the test came back negative. So that's another reason I think that it was, COVID was kind of here. And it could be that we weren't seeing that, now we're seeing the variants and stuff, the mutations of it. And it could have been back then, it was like the first strain, and, that's what it was. But I don't know for sure. I have my thoughts and my feelings, but I there may not be any way to know for sure. I will say about the flu this year, though, that telling everybody to wear masks. Excuse me. Telling everybody to wear masks. The flu has been a lot lower with people staying away, because the flu does not spread quite as easily as COVID does. So since people are staying distance, wearing masks, the flu, I don't know anybody who has had the flu this year. And that's been awesome. It sucks that we have COVID, but oh, Lulies, we have been trying to do some different dieting stuff too, and it's no fun. I mean, you can I've dropped a little bit of weight, but it's no fun. Yeah. Thank you, Chloe. Yeah, we've definitely been praying for that too. It's an odd time. It's an odd time. Oh yeah, they were doing that. Like here in the US at least, and I've heard many cases of this where people would not die from COVID, but child is at the door. He's awake now. So I'm about to cut this stream off, by the way. But anyway, I'll say this last thing. They would, yeah, I'm about to be out, okay? I'll be out in just a minute. So anyway, they would have somebody who would die of some reason, but they would test positive for COVID. So they would write it off as a death from COVID, when in reality it was a death from something else, but the person had COVID when they died. So, I mean, that kind of throws the numbers of what they're reporting up in the air. Are they right? But then you got to think, there are people that get COVID and never know they have COVID. So the numbers could be underreported, but at the same time, they could be overreported. So in the end, I kind of feel like, man, maybe it all kind of evens itself out. So I don't know. The earth is going to swallow us whole. Let's hope that doesn't come for many millions of years. Oh, and don't get me started on people caring about money. I say just care about each other. Just be nice to people. I mean, really, whether they're nice to you or not, just be nice to people. So I'm gonna get off here now. Thank you guys for joining. It's been a fantastic stream. I'll be back on next Sunday. You guys have a great rest of the day, and just like I said, just be nice to somebody.